Broadcasting from the great state of Michigan. Podcasting across the world and beyond. Across the world and beyond. It's the Easyspeak and Speakeasy 330 podcast. A podcast that will go in depth on local and national news, ranging from sports to beer and barbecue. We've got you covered. Get ready for Ain't My Money, Not My Problem, where we'll make the picks, you make the money. Now, go grab your favorite beverage, sit back, and join Tom, Rich, JP, a.k.a. The Giant, and Drew. It's showtime.
Good morning. College football Saturday. We are back. Welcome to the Easyspeak College Football Kickoff. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Big day, big week around here. It's probably one of the best weekends, not including next weekend of the season. So today's show, we're going to give you some picks. A little different format than our normal broadcast. So we're going to give you 8 games right off the clip for our picks. We're going to give a super lock. Upset alert, who's going to be sweating today, and the most intriguing storylines for the week, which should be pretty fun. And again, this is going to kind of set up our new format. We're going to go college football and we're going to go NFL on 2 separate shows. So definitely looking forward to that. Little bit of a different atmosphere here. Going to give you guys some really good options for bets if you're out there doing that. So we're going to bring in the fellas here, JP and Tim. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
What's going on? You know, it feels like we're back now. You know, we've been back for a while, but you know, kind of stretching it out. A little bit of soccer here, a little bit of projection stuff. Yeah. You know, now we get to actually talk about the real games, and then we get to watch them. So that's exciting. Yeah,
it's kind of a downtime, obviously, when our team, the Tigers, aren't winning, and so we really don't pay much attention to what else is going on. It's always the build up to now, and here we are. Right. Tim, what do you think about opening weekend? Is it like Christmas as a kid?
It's Christmas all over again, man. It's football.
Yeah. It's there slight chill in the air this week. Not going to happen this weekend because it's in the 90s, but it is Labor Day weekend, so we do thank everyone for tuning in on your holiday weekend. Barbecue, going out. JP, got any big plans for the holiday weekend besides watching football?
Nah. Yeah, I was going to break out the Depends and just throw some diapers on and stay glued to the couch as long as possible. No, we'll probably just take advantage, obviously with school and things like that. It's been really busy and really hectic, so it'll be nice to just relax and have a little bit of family time and some football this weekend.
All weekend.
And sometimes doing less is better, I will say.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Tim, any big plans for you?
Football today, barbecuing tomorrow, and back to work on Monday.
Oh, you got to work. Yeah, so do I. Yeah. The wackadoodles do not take days off on LinkedIn, so I have to hit that. So for me, it's finally a weekend to be out on the boat. We were out last night. We'll be out again all weekend. So I might not be feeling good on Monday, just putting it that way. So we've got a good friend coming.
Take advantage of it, man.
Oh, yeah. We've got a good friend coming tomorrow out on the boat. She probably has about 200 Jell-O shots coming. So, yeah, I'm sure there'll be pictures perusing the interwebs with that.
So your Labor Day will turn into a recovery day then, right?
Yeah, thank God I work from home because I can turn the camera up and take a little nappy nap. So, all right, fellas, let's dive into this here. Like we said before, it's opening weekend. It's the best time of the year, and we're going to start off right here in our backyard with the boys in blue going up against the Pirates of East Carolina. And of course, as we start this thing, somebody's got their car alarm going off. So I do apologize for that. So I'll mute my mic and I'll let these fellas go. JP, let's start this thing off.
Yeah, and just a disclaimer here. We got these lines are from a couple nights ago. I think some of them have changed a little bit. But, yeah, we can break down Michigan, East Carolina a little bit here. Looks like Michigan's going to be without several starters today. Cornelius Johnson probably won't be in the lineup. Darius Clemens won't be in the lineup. Tyler Morris probably not in the lineup. So you ask who is going to play at receiver. Probably see a little Roman Wilson today. Maybe a little Smaj Morgan, Fred Moore, some of the young guys. Then the defensive backfield as well. You probably won't see any Makari Page, any Will Johnson, any Amarion Walker, or Rod Moore today. They're all kind of working through things, and as it stands, it's kind of a preseason tune-up anyway. So, yeah, expect to see a lot of new faces today. On the East Carolina side, they're not very good. So with that being said, though, with all things going here and Michigan being out a lot of guys, I think you're going to see a lot of young guys play. I think East Carolina can cover the 36-point spread. So I went with East Carolina.
Tim, what do you got in this game?
I think Michigan's going to cover. They're going to show out for Jim Harbaugh. They're going to prove Cheeseburger, whatever you want to call it, suspension's a fluke. I think the players are going to play their heart out. Blake Corman's been talking all year. This team's different. This team's got the fire. So I think Michigan's going to kind of be on a prove-it mission all year, and they're going to be blowing people out of the water pretty quick.
For me, the big question is, will there be an orgy in the end zone?
I think there will be an orgy in the end zone at some point.
So that'll be the key. I do see the second and third string guys getting a lot of action here, just because it's. Let's face it, this season in general, this non-conference season again is a bit of a cupcake for Michigan, and it's disappointing. Yeah. Next year will be a different story, but this year, so they're not going to take any chances. Corum will play the first half. The starters will get the first half action, and they'll get a lead, and then they'll let the other guys get some experience. So for that, I have East Carolina covering this game.
Unlike our friends in East Lansing who had to play up to Central Michigan last night and felt like they actually had a ball game, it feels like a dress rehearsal for most of us Wolverine fans today. And that sounds too cocky. I'm sorry.
I speak for myself, but I think you guys can agree. The mean mug from Mel Tucker, when they like zoom the camera in on him, and he's always got this look like he's ready to just go and jump on the field. It's like, come on, dude, just coach, get out there and coach. Let's go.
He looked like he was sweating it out there in the first half. I mean,
it was warm out there, so maybe that's what it was.
Tuck sweating.
Well, I mean, 31-7. Hey, they covered, good wins. First half was kind of an embarrassment. But
they made me some money, so hey.
Sparty up. Go green.
Yeah.
Moving on, the Arkansas State Red Wolves versus the Fighting Brett Vegetables, as we like to call them on the Reckless
Vegetables.
So, 36-point favorite for the Oklahoma Sooners. It'll probably be about 130 degrees down there in Norman, but it's dry heat. It's just dry heat, so it won't be so bad. So, Tim, we're going to start this one off with you. What do you think in this game?
That's a sick logo for Arkansas State. Kind of dig it.
Yeah, I do like that.
It looks like they made it on Canva. Just saying.
Yeah. I don't know much about either of these teams. I took Oklahoma just for the fact their QB's name is General Booty, and I mean, he's not going to pick that team with that guy under center.
Yeah. You want to hear that touchdown call?
So I got
Booty to the tight end.
I have Oklahoma
General Booty.
36.
Gus Johnson, it's booty time.
All right. So both teams coming in lost 4-5. Oklahoma really looked bad towards the end of the year. You know, as you mentioned, Brent Venables' second year, as you like to call him, Brent Vegetables, on reckless speculation. So, a little bit of intrigue in this game. Arkansas State is actually led by Butch Jones, who we all know was head coach of Central Michigan, Tennessee, and so on. Got fired from Tennessee. But we talk about these games with the big spreads because we want to talk about some intrigue. And, it's Venables' second year. They got Dylan Gabriel returning, who Oklahoma is expected to have a high-powered offense. And I think they're going to get it rolling today. That seat in Norman will get hot pretty quick if they don't. I like Oklahoma to cover the 36 today.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's probably not another program right now that's under the microscope as far as the coaching hot seat as Oklahoma. Very disappointing season last year.
Yeah.
You came in with all the hype, and my fear is that Brett Venables is a situation where he's a fantastic coordinator, but when it comes to making the big calls and kind of leading the team as a head coach, it just doesn't pan out. But we'll see. I think this year, if they don't win 9-10 games, there could be a chance of a shakeup in Norman. But so for that, I see Arkansas State 3-9 last season, 1-7 in the Sun Belt Conference. So this game's going to be a blowout. It'll be a blowout early. Give me Oklahoma to cover. I can see this game being like a 58-10 type of score. So,
and we talk about Venables. Do we all agree that I think a coach needs at least 3 years?
You
know what I mean.
But in these high profile programs, the boosters, they just, and the fan bases, they call for their head after a couple of years. I mean, it happened here in Michigan, and it's going to happen down in Columbus if Ohio State doesn't, beat Michigan. I mean, you're looking at
blasphemy.
Yeah, it's criminal.
You got a coach that's only lost 6 games.
Spoiled.
But this is the state of
privilege.
College athletics now, especially college football. So it's what have you done for me lately? I don't care about what happened a couple of years ago. You're either going to win now or hit the road.
Well,
so.
You look at a program like Auburn, who's changed coaches like it changes boxer shorts. You know what I mean? So
and that's SEC for you right there. So
yeah.
Moving on to probably the most hyped game, one of the most hyped games of the weekend. It's the Colorado Buffaloes, led by 9-toe Deion Sanders, making his big-time Power 5 conference debut, going against the Horned Frogs, who we all too familiar with, JP and I.
The Horny Toads.
The Horned Frogs.
Yeah.
Of TCU, the Christian boys down there. So, Tim, we're going to start off with you. What do you like in this game?
Colorado, Coach Prime, first season, he raided the transfer portal. They have a lot of new players with the new system. It's going to take them a while to gel. I think TCU, even with the new quarterback under center, is going to cover the 20.5 pretty easy. They're going to try to prove to everybody that the Georgia game was an anomaly and they're really not as bad as they looked against them. So I took a TCU minus the 20.5.
Okay, JP?
Yeah, Tim mentioned the turnover. 86 new players on the Colorado roster, to be exact. But they do bring in some good players. Son Shedeur Sanders is a pretty damn good quarterback. He brought in his other son, Shiloh, on the defensive side. And Travis Hunter is a guy for Colorado who, if people don't know about, they're going to know about. He's probably
the number one recruit 2 years ago.
Number one recruit a couple years ago. He'll probably be one of the best players in the country by the time it's all said and done. He's going to play offense. He's going to play defense. He's going to run both ways. You look at TCU. They replaced both their starting running backs. Max Duggan obviously went on, Heisman candidate. They've lost some key starters on defense. So we don't really know what TCU has. While I don't think Colorado is going to be good this year, I think a lot of people are kind of disrespecting Colorado. which is why I picked Colorado to cover the 20.5.
Yeah. Good point. With the new quarterback there in TCU, Duggan was, he was a huge part of that team last year, running the ball and throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Sadly, he got cut, which kind of surprised me. I thought he was going to stick somewhere in the NFL. I'm sure he'll get it picked up somewhere, but I do think Colorado will get it together at some point. I just don't think it's this year.
Yeah.
He came in, blazing saddles, as they would say there in Colorado. You're either in or you're out. It's either my way or get out. And I'm not sure a lot of kids are mentally capable of handling that. So it's going to take a little bit of time for him to kind of get his kids into his system. And I do think Shedeur is going to be a good quarterback. It's just going from the HBCU to Big 12, or essentially, he's playing a Big 12 team. So that's quite a jump in talent, even if it's unproven. Pac-12, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the Mountain West.
Yeah, so it's going to be it's going to be kind of a feeling out process for him. He'll get it together. I don't think it's this year. So I've got TCU covering and winning this game.
You're not off base, though, Tom. Colorado is slated to go back to the Big 12.
The Big 12, yeah.
Within the realignment. So,
So
you like TCU in the points?
I do. Because it's at home. They play those home fans are pretty rabid. They've got a good home field advantage. So I'll give them that.
Okay.
So moving on to the game that's going to be played at probably one of the worst stadiums in the NFL, Nissan Stadium in one of the most awesome cities in the country, in Nashville, Tennessee. They're putting the checkerboard orange and white in the end zones. The Virginia Cavaliers against the Fighting Joe Miltons of Tennessee. JP, let's go with this one.
Yeah, so Tennessee coming off 10-3 season, signature bowl win against Clemson. A lot of people, thought up until that South Carolina upset that they might be one of the top 3 teams in the country. You lose Hendon Hooker, Joe Milton returning, who had a really good game against Clemson and played very well, in spot duty down the stretch for them, filling in for Hooker. Is he the guy? A lot of people say Josh Heupel is the quarterback whisperer. We're going to see. I know that he's got the number 1 quarterback in the class of 2023 breathing down the back of his neck. They're not going to get tested that much today. Don't know where the production's coming from for Virginia or who their quarterback is. I think that's kind of still up for grabs. I picked Tennessee minus 28.
Tim, who you got in this one? And I bet I know who it is.
Tennessee is Joe Milton's going to prove that has all the hype. Obviously, he's had since the Michigan days. He's going to prove he's that guy. Mm-hmm. And Tennessee's on the up and up. I think they're going to prove they're not last year wasn't a fluke, and I actually have them winning the SEC East this year. Spoiler alert. Oh. Mm-hmm. So I believe Tennessee
over Georgia, huh?
Yeah, wow. I believe Tennessee's going to cover fairly easy. Probably within the first half, it's covered.
My only question with Tennessee is, Jalen Hyatt was their guy last year. He was the number 1 receiver, and who replaces that production for Tennessee? We're going to find out.
5 touchdowns versus Alabama.
Yeah,
it's a good point. I think the big question for me with Tennessee is Joe Milton. The boys down in Tennessee, from Reckless Speculation, they're sold on Joe Milton. I was telling them that, hey, pump the brakes. Milton looked like a world beater in his debut with Michigan, and then it was all downhill from there. So, yes, he's got arm strength like nobody else in the country. Yes, he's got the intangibles. But does Heupel have what it takes? Obviously, he did do that with Hendon Hooker. Hooker coming over from Virginia Tech.
Right.
And arguably would have been the Heisman Trophy winner, maybe if he doesn't blow his knee out toward the end of the season. So can Heupel do that again? Can he kind of resurrect somebody,
Yeah.
from the grave of reputation as it goes in as a college quarterback? It remains to be seen. Like you said, he had a nice debut. Today will be a good test. They got to go into this game like it's an SEC upper echelon competition. So with that and the fact that it's going to be an absolute home field advantage, even though, yeah, they're playing in Tennessee, but it's no secret Nashville, Tennessee and Knoxville, Tennessee are not fans of each other. It's kind of like Michigan, Ohio State. Those are two areas that do not like each other, but they're going to put about 90 to 95% orange in Nissan, and they will cover this game without a doubt. So Tennessee all the way.
Yep.
Tennessee all the way.
So yeah, so you mentioned, if Heupel can turn Milton around, then he is the ultimate quarterback resurrector, right?
I mean, you're going to see a lot of kids wanting to go there. A lot of kids that had a lot of potential that just didn't put it together. And if he can turn Milton around, the cat's out of the bag. He's a dominant, maybe elite level type of coach. Depending on what they do, they've got a tough road. They've got to go to Alabama this year. So Georgia at home, which will be nice. Let's see if they can beat the Bulldogs and then throw the goalpost back in the river. They're going to be trying for that. So Tennessee is an interesting team. They've got a lot of potential, but we'll see.
Joe Milton, he's got all that God-given ability and talent. It's just finding the right system and the right coaching. And
right,
I do root for the kid though. Sure. I hope he does well there.
Sure, in the college game, coaching is paramount, and you see it here. You see it here with Michigan, to where Harbaugh can recruit like nobody else. But prior to a couple years ago, it wasn't equating until he brought in the right coaching staff. They were able to get the money to spend on the right coaches to really focus on these kids, and the rest is history. And it goes with Ohio State too. Ohio State is infamous for bringing in 2- and 3-star guys, and by the time their career's over with, they're all American. So, and that's coaching. You can come in with your talent. Talent can only take you so far. You got to have a coaching staff that can kind of ground these kids, especially nowadays, to where social media, they're 10th grade, they've got 1 million followers. So that kind of inflates their ego, and they think that they can just show up and they're going to be dominant. But coaching is 100% key, and why Michigan is where they're at, and why Tennessee's resurgence has been.
You talked about Michigan and Ohio State, right? So Michigan, they added the assistant coaches that they added really changed, the trajectory for Harbaugh big time, because if you look at Michigan and Ohio State on paper, Ohio State recruits better than Michigan year in and year out. That's a style of player and a style of coaching within a program that makes the team.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. 100%. So we're going to move on to a former Big Ten quarterback in Michael Penix Jr., who's going into his 6th year of eligibility, albeit 3 of his seasons were cut very short due to injury. Going against the Fighting Blue Rugs of Boise State at the Mountain West.
Blue Rugs.
The Blue Rugs heading over to Seattle to play the Huskies. Tim, do you think Boise can go in there and make some noise?
No. Washington's covered 7 of their 8 last non-conference home games, so I believe that trend will continue. I believe they're going to cover versus Boise easily. Penix Jr. is going to be a Heisman candidate. I believe he will be in New York, so I don't think he's necessarily going to win it. And I also have Washington winning the Pac-12.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
So Washington easily.
A lot of bold claims on this airwaves by Tim these days.
We might need to
right.
rename the show. I don't know. It's crazy.
That's all right, though. Hey, you give your opinion, right?
Outside.
So, Michael Penix, everybody, no secret, Heisman candidate. Explosive offense for Washington. They averaged almost 40 points a game last year. So now they're coming into a team against Boise State, who was 10-4 last year. A lot of people don't know. 15th ranked defense in the country, offensively challenged. But if Boise State can't score no points, I think this game could get ugly pretty quick. Boise State actually didn't cover 8 times last year in the spread or a push. I like Washington to cover the 14 here pretty easily.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the most anticipated seasons for Washington. They're coming in with a lot of hype. Finished the season. They were pretty solid last year. And like Tim mentioned, Penix, I agree 100%. I think he's going to be in at least the conversation for a Heisman, barring he stays healthy. If he can stay healthy, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the country. He has the experience. So that's going to help him definitely with this game. I think this number is very, very small. I can see this being at least a 3-touchdown game. Washington's not the easiest places to play. They've got a really nice home field advantage, one of the nicer stadiums in the country. One of, I believe it's only 3 in the country that you can get to by boat, which that intrigues me. I'd love to tailgate at a boat dock there someday. But, but yeah, give me the Huskies here to cover big. Boise, yes, they're kind of like somewhat the Gonzaga of football. We're not the biggest name, but they seem to always produce talent and produce wins. But I think this is too much. I like Washington here in this game.
Yeah. The left-handed laser beam thrower.
Yeah, he's solid. He's solid, and I look.
Tim's picked to win the Pac-12.
Oof. Write that down, folks.
Write it down.
We'll have to go back and relive that moment. That's a tough hill to climb.
I keep all receipts.
For sure.
I can't.
We're all entitled to our own opinions, but I do keep the receipts.
Yep. We'll talk about that on another episode.
Yeah.
Heading out to Bloomington, Indiana, 30-point dog against Tim's Fighting Fake-Ass Rips of Ohio State. And JP, we'll start with you since this is Tim's bread and butter, and we definitely look forward to hearing his commentary. What do you got?
Yeah, so I think the main storyline out of Columbus has been their quarterback situation. Is it Kyle McCord? Is it Devin Brown? The last minute, Kyle McCord's starting. It tells me that the young kid's probably better than him. They're going to give him a chance to take McCord's job. But you look at the game, Indiana 2-16 in the Big Ten since 2021. They've lost 27 straight to the Buckeyes. They have a new head coach. They're shuffling quarterbacks. They've brought in 24 transfers. I would say that things are disarray in Bloomington, and we are a long way away from Michael Penix in 2020 when they actually were contenders for the Big Ten, which is pretty crazy to say, huh? Mm-hmm. But, I think too much Buckeyes. Indiana, I don't think they have an identity. I don't think they know where they're going yet. I like Ohio State to cover the 30. It pains me to say this, but I'm in the business of trying to be right here. So
biases aside, go for it, Tim.
I have a soft spot for IU. It's right on my treatment site, so I always want to see them do good, but it's not going to be today. They failed to cover against ranked teams 8 of their last 9 games. And JP hit on the Ohio State quarterback situation. Kyle McCord knows he's under the hot seat already, so he's going to try to show out. Devin Brown, when he gets in, he's going to try to prove it's his job. He's going to try to show out, and I think this is going to be closer to like a 45-50 kind of blowout. Definitely Ohio State.
Yeah, this team quarterback situation reminds me a lot of the Michigan situation last year with Cade McNamara and JJ. My guess is they're going to kind of alternate to give each guy an opportunity to show who's going to win this competition out. I think McCord gets the start today because of his close friendship with Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think they gave him that much respect. And as we were talking, I kind of changed my pick on this one. I agree with Tim. I think McCord's going to go out there looking to kind of stand out and make a name for himself. And the fact that there's a new coaching system in place, my initial thought was this game being in Bloomington was going to keep it, within the 30, not really close to the far off from 30, but it was going to keep it close. But I think Ohio State's going to come out here and obviously they're looking to clean up their last two games against Michigan, and they're going to want to go for broke, we'll say, in each game. So when the big game happens, they're an opportunity to be as close to the top of the group as they can. So give me the Buckeyes here. I do see this being like a 35-point game, and I have since changed my pick here, just listening to you guys. So Buckeyes by about 35.
Also a statement game. The last time they played, everyone was giving them shit for wide left, so they're going to want to get that out of their system real quick. So they're going to.
Right. Yeah.
And a great man once said, if you have two QBs, you have no QBs. So
Yep.
there's another thing right there to
That's
watch out
true.
for.
And they're going to get tested here real soon against Notre Dame. That's going to be a tough go. And they're going to want to put the best quarterback in place for that one.
Yeah, right. And so how much are you going to show today? You know what I mean? Even if they show nothing, they still got enough to beat Indiana by 30 or better. I think you get Harrison and Ibuka probably in there for a half, and then start shuffling guys in, maybe a little Carnell Tate action. You know what I mean? See what you got. But I don't think you want to tip your hand too much for Notre Dame.
No.
And the hype with that guy's unreal too.
Yeah.
Now, going on to the most intriguing game, foreshadowing, ladies and gentlemen, of the weekend, the border battle here. The Tar Heels versus the Gamecocks. This could be the game of the weekend, in my opinion. So, Tim, we'll start with you. What do you think about this game?
I'm not a believer in Drake May at all. UNC is without their number one receiver. He was ruled ineligible as of yesterday for the game, so they're without their top wideout. I have South Carolina covering and winning outright. It's my super lock of the week.
A little foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you could have saved that to the next segment, but we'll move on.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the Drake May versus Spencer Rattler show. I think Spencer Rattler, kind of salvaged himself last year. You look at two teams on the opposite side of the spectrum. North Carolina imploded towards the end of the year. South Carolina was the team that came on towards the end of the year. They beat Clemson in that Palmetto State rivalry. They gave Notre Dame all they could handle in the bowl game. And you look at, a lot of people talk about Caleb Williams. Oh, wow. Yeah. Caleb Williams out west. Drake May is the East Coast, Caleb Williams. My dad went to the Michigan South Carolina game, and they have the most irritating chant, which is "Go Cox," right? So yeah, South Carolina's won 4 of the last 5 meetings here. I got the Cox to cover the 2.5.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of cocktails during that game, the tailgate. Drake May he was unbelievable last year as a freshman. Allegedly was approached by an SEC coach this offseason, a multi-million-dollar cash deal to come play for them. It was never released who he was referring to, but that doesn't surprise me in the least. He shows out. But I think this is a test for Spencer Rattler. I think he kind of put his name back in the hat of reliable quarterbacks when he absolutely tattooed Tennessee
Yeah.
to the tune of 7 touchdown passes. They scored so many touchdowns in that game they ran out of fireworks shooting up in the air. It was insane.
Yeah.
And they kind of built off that, like you said, JP. As the season went on, they kind of got better and they kind of proved themselves. And if there's a guy in this country that needs more recognition, it's Spencer Rattler. Obviously, he came in highly touted. The Netflix series with the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I think he became everybody's villain watching that show because he was just such an arrogant SOB. But
Yeah, good point.
he goes to Oklahoma and does absolutely nothing. Classic example, like I said earlier, these kids get inflated egos.
Well, Caleb Williams took his job.
Absolutely, as a freshman, Caleb Williams takes his job, and he had to eat some humble pie, and he transfers to a program that really SEC, but kind of bottom of the barrel. It's kind of built them up now. So now we're going to see how far is Spencer Rattler's career going to go. Is he going to make a run for the NFL? And I think every game matters. And when you're playing a rivalry like North Carolina, a border rival, you have to take these games 100%. And for that, the game being down in Columbia, I like the, as JP would call it, the Cox. Go Cox in this one. They're going to be hard and ready for pounding. Go. Yes.
There will be plenty of Cox in the building, I'm sure.
Man, there's going to be a lot of hard hitting. And, oh, man. There's going to be a lot of heels up in the air, folks.
Yeah.
Heels, hard Cox, heels in the air. Ha. Going at speed. The Fighting Sister Cousins of West Virginia going into Happy Valley to face the Nittany Lions of Penn State. This team is touted. They're probably going to finish third in the Big Ten. I've seen some people saying they're going to win the Big Ten East. We'll see. Yeah. It's a tough year. It's a tough division, as we all know. So, JP, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, so I think this is a huge year for James Franklin. Obviously, he can't get over the hump, which is Ohio State and Michigan the last couple of years. They haven't announced the starting quarterback, but I think we all know that it's the Drew Aller era. He's been the guy that's been hyped. He's a big-time recruit there. West Virginia coming in. Neil Brown might have one of the hottest seats in the country, 22 and 25. The mountain people of West Virginia are very angry. They're coming into this game. They're trying to figure out their quarterback situation. They're starting a guy I've never heard of before. They're calling this a whiteout in Happy Valley, which is where people come to die. I like Penn State to cover the 20.5 easily.
Tim?
Penn State's covered the spread in their last 7 games. I'm believing the Drew Aller hype. He's got all the hype in the world this offseason. Penn State's going to cover fairly easy. I just don't see West Virginia being able to run the ball against arguably the best defense in the country, and they have no passing game at all.
For me, this is pretty simple. James Franklin, who is probably the most hated coach in the country, rightfully so, is known for having really good starts to seasons. And I think this game is no different. West Virginia was 5-7 last year, 2-4 on the road. There'll be a sprinkling of yellow and blue in that sea of white. But this game it's an opportunity for Penn State to show that they should be considered in the conversation for finalists for the Big Ten East. So give me Penn State to cover that 20.5. I can see 25-28. So it's a tough home environment, especially when they have that whiteout. I think it's a little more menacing at night. But So give me Penn State for this one.
And also, with breaking in a new quarterback like Drew Aller, Penn State has arguably one of the best 1-2 duos in the backfield there in the country. And I don't see West Virginia being able to stop them on the ground. That'll open up some throwing lanes. It'll be a good tune-up game. For Aller tonight.
And the game of the week, the big game of the week, happening tomorrow night down at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. The Fighting Cajun Brian Kelly's going against the Seminoles of Florida State. I'll just do it for my family. Timmy, you think Cajun Kelly can go into Orlando and take out the Seminoles?
Yes, I do. I got LSU covering fairly easy. I'm not buying the Florida State hype this year, and I think they're still a year or two away to be where they're ranked number 8 in the preseason. I think they're going to finish the year unranked, I believe. I think I said next year will be the year is their coming out party. Jaden Daniels is another Heisman candidate. He's an underrated QB, I believe. And I also have LSU coming out of the SEC West. So there's your SEC title game right there.
Oof. Oof. He's really taking shots.
He is.
I like it. JP, what do you think?
Well, you talk about Jaden Daniels being underrated. On the other side of the spectrum, Jordan Travis is the quarterback to me. That's the one that's underrated. Florida State, they went out. They got Keon Coleman from Michigan State this year. He's got some targets. LSU just their star defensive tackle Mason Smith suspended. You wonder how that's going to play. LSU has a guy in Harold Perkins who's a sophomore, true sophomore, at outside linebacker who's very Von Miller-like. And you watch the game Sunday night, you're gonna know this kid. FSU actually won the matchup last year. I do like LSU. I think that LSU is going to win the SEC West. Calling my shot. You heard it. And I like LSU to cover in this game. I think that it would be a huge win for Mike Norvell to knock them off. I think LSU just right now is further ahead. Florida State, the best team in Florida, obviously.
That's not saying much.
That's not saying much these days, but yeah. I like LSU. I think it's going to be about Brian Kelly and his family.
He's going to take my family down. Down to Disney World.
Yeah.
And go on the Splash Mountain ride. Do a little recruiting down in South Florida.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the family. They're coming with me. I'm going to bring a lot of Tiger Nation down to Camping World. So this game, I don't see it being a home field advantage for Florida, even though it's being played in Florida.
Yeah.
LSU travels. I like how they finish. Now, I just mentioned James Franklin being one of the most hated coaches. I think Brian Kelly is like 1A. I mean, there's a close tie between those two. What he finished the season, it's remarkable. They got 10 wins last year. Looking back how they started, I think they went 0-2, 0-3 to start the season. I mean, they were going for his head down in Baton Rouge after the first month that he was there. So, but he definitely finished strong. I like LSU here. I like their depth. I like the fact that they're a little more experienced. And 2.5. That tells me that Vegas is still unsure with that spread. But I do think LSU coming off a hot finish last year, it'll kind of turn over into this year. So I like the Tigers of LSU to go in there and win. And Norvell is in year 4. He's kind of built that program back up. I like what he's done. I actually forgot Keon Coleman did transfer there. So he's going to have a lot to prove. So I look for him to have a big season, but just not
Florida State's got some weapons, man. This is going to be an explosive game. You know what I mean? This is a preview of 2 playoff teams to come for a while here once they do the expansion.
And let's face it. When Florida State is good, college football is better. I mean, these are traditional powerhouses.
Blue bloods.
If Florida Miami ever can get it together, that'll be the same for them. But I think as a whole, college football is better when Florida State is better and they're on their way. So, but again, I don't think it's yet. I agree with you guys. LSU is going to take this one. So we did mention a second ago, Tim kind of spilled the beans there, Super Locks. And I'll go back to him. He kind of spoiled the party, let us know ahead of time what it was. But go ahead and tell us your Super Lock again and your why.
South Carolina over UNC. It's going to, like I said, I don't believe the Drake May hype. UNC's without their number one receiver. Spencer Rattler's out to prove that his arrogant ego is for a reason, because on that Netflix show, he was that guy. And, Caleb Williams taking the job from him. Caleb Williams is obviously a great player. I just think Spencer Rattler is going to prove that all the hype's real about him. Just took a while for him to see it.
JP, who's your Super Lock?
Yeah, I'm going to go out to the West Coast. I like Washington minus 14.5 against Boise. I think a lot of people are underestimating Boise, and like Tom was wondering why the line was as low as it is. I think Boise's actually bringing in a pretty good team. But, I think this is Michael Penix's coming out party, and that's my Super Lock for the day.
JP, I'm going to use an old radio phrase. You stole my thunder, buddy. I agree 100%. Washington's my Super Lock. I hate that we agree because it doesn't help us in the standings. But standings, we're keeping a running count, and at the end of the year, somebody's going to win a prize. Not sure what it is, but maybe it's some beers and barbecue somewhere. But no, I agree. I think this is a game set up for lots of success for Washington. Penix is just going to go in there and show, why he's in consideration for the Heisman, potentially down the road. So Super Lock, I agree, Washington over Boise.
Okay.
So with the Super Lock, flip side of the Super Lock is upset alert. Who's going to be going home tonight or tomorrow or Monday butthurt because they got whooped? JP, who's on upset alert for you?
Yeah, so I go back to Columbia, South Carolina. I think obviously North Carolina's coming in with the most of the hype in this game. Obviously the spread shows so. I know it's not a big upset, but here in week one, this is what I have to go off of, and I like the Cox.
I was just talking about Penix in Washington, and now you're talking about the Cox down in South Carolina. There's a lot of unnecessary talk.
A lot of wiener talk going on.
I know what I want to see your wiener. Tim,
subliminal wiener talk.
Who's on upset alert in Tim's world?
I had two of them. JP stole my thunder with the South Carolina game, so I'm going to take my second one with Duke over Clemson. I'm not. So it's a biased pick. I hate Clemson. I can't stand them. It's our crypto night. Fuck them. I hope they get beat by 3 touchdowns.
Ooh, boy. Is that game where's that game being played at? Is it in Duke?
I think it's in Clemson.
All right, Clemson.
Yeah.
Death Valley.
At Death Valley with the upset, huh?
Man, if they go in there and take them out, that would be impressive. My upset alert this week is heading out to Lafayette, Indiana. The Boilermakers of Purdue going up against Fresno State, the Bulldogs. Purdue, new coach, new quarterback, a lot of questions. Fresno State, they won the Mountain West last year, and they beat Washington State in the ever-popular Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. So they're coming into this season riding fairly high. I believe they were 10-1 last year overall. So this is a scrappy team. They've always kind of been real scrappy in the mix, and so I don't see this as being a tough task for them to head over to a Big Ten country to take out the Boilermakers. The line in this game is 3.5, so that tells me that Vegas doesn't have a lot of confidence in Purdue. So give me the Bulldogs of Fresno State to put Purdue on upset alert.
That's a real upset there.
I like it. I was looking up and down the line. Let's face it, there weren't a lot of options. And even for Super Lock, you try to be outside the box, as Tim has shown already today on some of his predictions. So you try to have that mentality. That way you're not considered, oh boy, that's too obvious. So
yeah,
it was difficult this week. As the season goes on, I'm sure that'll change. So
yeah,
we're going to move on. Every weekend seems to have a storyline. ESPN on game day will have a story that could be a possible tearjerker or some stats that we never even thought to think of. So this week we're going to do something similar. So intriguing storylines. Tim, what you got this week for something to pay attention to?
I think it's all the new starting QBs across the country at the bigger school. Penn State with Drew Aller, Ohio State with their situation, Alabama, Iowa with Cade McNamara, Joe Milton, is he going to be what he is? Drake May, does he have all the hype living up? Just quarterbacks. All across the country, you have a quarterback in this school that's either got hype or unknown.
I like it. Very good. JP, what's your intriguing storyline of the weekend?
I think it's got to be Coach Prime. Everybody's interested to see how he's going to do it at Colorado. We noted the huge roster turnover. He's starting his Division I coaching career against the CFP playoff team, against a playoff team last year. He has all the glitz and the glamour and the social media, and you're interested to see if his tactics are going to work at the Division I level. And it's just it's interesting to me. You know what I mean? It's a former player who didn't really have a lot of coaching background and took over Jackson State, made them relevant. And it's interesting to see if he can do it for Colorado, because if he can, I think you're going to see a lot more player coaches follow suit in the future.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about hype train. I mean, Deion Sanders is always the conductor of that train, and like I said earlier, he came in, piss and vinegar on that program, and put the fear of God in a lot of them, and they were number 2 in the country of kids that jumped into the transfer portal. So there's high expectations. They paid him king's ransom to go there. It was shocking. I think we all are pretty much shocked that he ended up going to Colorado. But we probably can all agree that it's just a stepping stone for another big jump at some point within the next few years. So that is very intriguing. He's just one of the most decorated athletes of all time. He talks the talk because he's walked the walk. So, and he's proven it so far in his college career, taking Jackson State, building them up to where they are. So, but for me, the most intriguing storyline is that border battle with North Carolina and South Carolina. Drake May is unbelievable freshman season. Can he repeat that? Spencer Rattler started rebuilding that reputation. Can he continue that? Can he swallow his pride and keep on trucking and get his name back in the mix of maybe draftable? Because let's face it, previous couple years, he wasn't draftable. So this is a game where I just see explosive offense. The over-under is 63.5.
Wow.
I think this is the most exciting game of the weekend, just because the storyline aspect of it, the border situation. South Carolina's kind of sitting out there in limbo. Are they going to compete? Are they going to kind of fall back? this is a team that needs this game more than anybody in the country on the schedule this week. So I like I said earlier, my pick, I like South Carolina in this game. And I've never one big fan of Spencer Rattler, but I can see he's starting to kind of turn that leaf a little bit, and he wants to be in that conversation. And this is a game where he's either going to be there or he's not. So we're going to find out early. So to me, that's the intriguing part of this weekend. But hey, we'll see how it plays out. Again, we're kind of keeping a running total of our picks. We're having a little friendly competition. As the weeks go on, we'll kind of tally it up at the end of the season. Unfortunately, our good buddy Rich wasn't able to join us. He's still trying to work out moving situation. He's a busy man at work, and it's hard to kind of squeeze out some time. So hopefully he can get back in the mix here. So, but again, this is our new format during the football season. We'll do an NFL show as well starting next week, along with a college show. And we encourage everyone to kind of follow along with us. Take the picks that we give, make your picks, and then let us know. That way we can put something together for you guys too at the end of the season for who has the best record for all of our followers. So with that being said, we want to thank everybody for tuning in this morning. I know it's a little different situation. We wanted to get these picks in before the games unrolled here in the next half an hour. So we thank everybody that's listening. We encourage you to please like and follow and subscribe on all our socials. We got them all, so check them out. And we will see you guys, not sure when. We'll put an announcement out probably early in the week. Let you guys know when the next college show will be, and then when the next NFL show, the debut NFL show, will be probably sometime next weekend. I would assume, obviously, because JP's work schedule doesn't allow him. So again, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Easyspeak at Speakeasy 330 podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Check us out on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to sharing another cold one with you right here next time for another fun-filled episode.